Good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? How are all of you? And the rest of you? Thank you. Allow us to once again thank each and every one of you for establishing the link in this way at this time between our respective civilizations. Each and every time our civilization is given an opportunity to communicate with yours in this way, we receive the gift of being allowed to see through you that many more ways that creation has of expressing itself, and thus it expands our understanding of the infinite. So we thank you for that gift. We have been speaking to you of late about the concept of manifestation in a little bit more precise and condensed manner, and we would like to continue to do so this day of your time. There are many different aspects to the idea of how it is your consciousness manifests the day-to-day reality that you experience, but we would like to sum it up in a very concise three-part harmony. Intention, action, without expectation, is the major key by which you create your reality. Intention, your beliefs, your emotions, your visions, your thoughts, what you intend, what you desire, what you wish, what you prefer your reality to be. This is all wrapped up in the concept of intention, that focus of consciousness that allows you to know, to choose what it is you prefer your life to be, how it is you prefer to express it, what you intend to do. But intention is not enough for manifestation, for bringing that wish, that vision into your physical reality. It must go hand in hand with action, physical action, for you are physical beings, and in order to manifest your intention, you must ground it in physical reality, and this is done through physical action. When you have an intention, you must act on the opportunities that come to you, that are representative of the joy of your vision, of your dream, of your wish. You must act out the scenario of the vision you see in your mind as best as you can, as closely as you can, to the vision that you see, that you say is representative of your dream, of your wish, of your desire. You must act like the person you see in that vision already, in order to become the vibration of the reality. Because if you don't become the vibration of the reality, the frequency of the reality, the energy of the reality, you cannot attract the reality. You have to be the vibration first before you can attract it magnetically to you. Now, while you're doing all this intending and focusing and acting, you also have to add a third ingredient, which is very paradoxical because it would seem as if to be, at first, a cancellation of the first two principles of intention and action, but it isn't. It is actually the secret ingredient that allows it to work, not makes it work, allows it to work. For everything works automatically when you allow it to. This is how you get out of your way, so to speak, to cease imposing certain parameters, certain beliefs, certain definitions that are actually what are standing in the way, most often, from you allowing yourself to attract the reality that you prefer. This third ingredient, after intention, after action, is total lack of expectation that it must come out in the way you saw it. You must absolutely, 100%, let go of any need, of any expectation that it must manifest that way. The reason for this is, primarily, that when you place an expectation, usually, the way you have been taught to in your society, upon a wish that you have, upon a desire that you have, you are actually taking unconscious definitions you're not aware of, and you're limiting how it is that that reality could actually manifest. You think that by expecting, by insisting that it come out that way, that you are helping it to manifest, but in fact you're actually helping it to manifest on a far lower level than it actually might were you to relax your expectations. Because your mind is not really capable of imagining all the ways that it could come to you, and the idea of having an intentional focus and taking action is simply to act as a magnetic seed, a core, to attract the manifestation of the reality, but the manifestation could be many times greater than you are capable of envisioning. So by placing a certain expectation that it must come out exactly as I thought, or it won't be right, is actually limiting the way it could come out even better than you imagined. You must let it go, because the universe already works. It's a mechanism that knows how to manifest automatically. All you have to do is plant the seed. That magnetic seed is the intention and the action. Then let it go. And just keep acting on the things that excite you, even if they do not immediately appear to be connected to the original vision. Excitement is what lets you know it is connected. And you will automatically be drawn into the circumstances, right place, right time, right people, to attract the reality in unexpected ways. Make a friend of the unexpected. Don't try to straitjacket it. It won't work. Let it be what it is, for it is multidimensional. And if you attempt to confine the manifestation of your reality down into one particular definition that you have been taught to believe it must be, you are shutting the doors on all the ways abundance could come to you, because abundance is many things. So intend, have the vision, act, be that person in that vision, then let it go. No expectation that it has to be that idea at all, because you never know. You might actually be capable of receiving a reality that is more reflective of the total you, rather than the little slice of you that your personality has been trained to be. Trust yourself. Trust your total self. It knows what it's doing. When you do not place the burden of the manifestation of your physical reality on the shoulders of only the physical personality, you will see that the whole spirit that you are, the whole being that you are, the whole consciousness that you are, knows exactly what it's doing, always has and always will. Now, we thank you for allowing us to remind you of this idea, for we are not telling you anything new. These are things you already know in your spirit, but perhaps have not allowed your personality to remember. We thank you again for the opportunity to remind you of who you already are. In return, once again, for the gift you are giving to us of allowing us to experience all of the myriad facets of your civilization in this contact, I ask you now, in what way may I, at this time, be of service to you? You may proceed if you wish.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
This is David. How are you?
All right, if you insist, I am perfect. How are you?
I'm doing good, too. I have a question concerning the monoatomic gold glass.
Okay.
I'd like to use it for a Meissner field generator.
Meissner,
excuse me.
Go right ahead.
And I was curious about the procedures of making it into the glasses. Is something I need to be aware of when I convert it from the powder to the glass?
You may find that there will need to be certain other elements. You would call this process doping, you understand?
Yes.
That are doped into that monatomic gold glass, fused glass, in order to allow it to be stable in certain ways.
Right.
One of these is chromium. By the addition of small amounts of chromium into the monoatomic gold glass, you will find it will become stable enough to begin to act as a superconductor and create the typical Meissner field that goes with it. You understand?
Perfectly.
But experiment, for there are other things you can add as well that will change the quality in a variety of ways and create slightly different effects. Do your homework.
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Anything else?
As far as the interface to that glass, what do you recommend as something that's harmonious?
Do you mean to siphon off the energy?
Precisely.
Like any superconductor, it simply can be any form of conductor that does not actually touch the superconductor, but is tuned to its frequency. As soon as it is tuned to the frequency, the Meissner field will collapse, and you will get a voltage along the conductor.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Fine.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Well, I would like to ask if you can see any details regarding my Native American past and why I feel the need to bring those things from the past so much now into my future.
First of all, of course, all of you remember that the so-called idea of past is simply simultaneous coexistence. You follow?
Yes.
All lives coexist right now. The concepts of your past and your future are illusions of linear reality perspective, of time, space orientation, physical reality perspective. All lives coexist now and are accessible now. Many of you in this transformational life will make connections, energy connections, to other lives going on that have pertinence to the kind of energy you require to accomplish what you need to accomplish in this incarnation as well. And remember, this is going on in the opposite direction. Many of your other lives, your so-called past lives, or even your future lives, are drawing from the energy of the experiences you are having in this life to aid and assist them in the things that they need to do, those versions of you, in those lives. You are doing the same. You are making those connections because there is a lot of increase in the consciousness of your people about your connection to nature. And one of the strongest symbolic representations you have in your culture of connection to nature has to do with indigenous peoples, not only Native American. You understand?
Yes.
So you are making the connections that work for you to aid and assist you in siphoning the energy through you that is most appropriate for the kinds of services that you will provide on your planet in this life. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Does that answer the question sufficiently, or is there some other avenue down which you wish to walk with this?
Well, I have kind of another question, which is really part of this.
All right. Part two.
I would like to know what you can do to help me and everyone here and everyone on the planet so that we may help the young people that we are all in contact with and help them further their consciousness.
First of all, of course, allow us to remind you once again that the children being born on your planet right now are not just a new generation, they are a new species. You understand? They are genetically different. They will remember more of who they are and who they have been in other lives. The best you can do is guide them with love and allow them to remember at every moment. They are powerful already, powerful enough to choose any reality they prefer without having to hurt themselves or anyone else to get what they need. You follow?
Yes.
And listen to them. Let them participate and tell you the ways in which information that exists upon your planet can be incorporated into their understanding of how it could be applied according to the things that interest them as well. We are not saying that you have to let them, as you say in your language, run amok. They need guidance, yes, but loving guidance in the recognition that they are powerful spiritual beings. You follow?
Yes.
And also let them reflect this to you. For many of the children can help you remember who you are. Does that help you?
It certainly does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And you good day.
Are you familiar with the Cryon material
To some degree.
and his karmic belief program?
Define more specifically if you would.
Well, there's a set of books that he has published that talks about kind of what you've talked about in terms of the karmic templates.
Yes.
And basically a program whereby people can undergo a rather vast acceleration of personal empowerment
Yes.
by having their karma from all the way from stellar to family more or less neutralized. Not dissolved per se, but neutralized with
The neutralization of what you recognize as karmic energy is the total acceptance of complete responsibility within your present now moment. That's all it is. That's all it will ever be. Karma is self-imposed. And when you understand that you are free to choose whoever it is that you choose to be at any given moment, karma is neutralized in the way that your planet usually means it. That's all it takes. Total acceptance of responsibility and being your total true self and living in the moment will do it. Just like that.
even when it seems so solidified and recalcitrant.
Of course, because it only seems solidified and recalcitrant because of your definitions. The idea is that the process you will go through in accepting total responsibility for who you are will make you face all those definitions and give you the opportunity to transform them into something more aligned with your truth. You follow?
Yeah.
I am not saying necessarily it will be instantaneous for everyone. It may not be. But that's the process nonetheless. You accept total responsibility by getting in touch with what you have been told to believe are the definitions that are most true, which of course, by believing them to be the most true, is the only thing that makes them seem solidified and recalcitrant, because that's what beliefs do. Beliefs have to be self-perpetuating in order for you to experience them as realities. So every belief is going to seem like the only belief you can have until you choose to believe something different. then that will be the only belief that seems true, until you choose to believe something different. Get in touch with the definitions you have been taught. Find the ones that work for you. Find the ones that don't. Change the ones that don't. When you do so, you will be in the process of taking total responsibility. Your ability to respond, rather than react in a negative way to your reality. The remembrance that you are creating your reality because you are attracting what you believe is the most likely reality you can experience based on your definition of what you deserve or what you're capable of or this or that. So getting in touch with your definitions about who you are and what reality is what will allow you to become more responsible, and becoming more responsible will allow you to live in the present. Living in the present will bring everything into focus. Then you will recognize that karma, the cycle, is broken the second you understand it's simply a matter of choosing to be who you are, and that you've always had the freedom to choose. And that's the only thing that the end result of the karmic cycle is helping you to understand anyway, is that you're a free being. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Here's, and then kind of like a related...
Oh, all right, a kind of like related idea.
You said that the universe doesn't do a point with an extremist thing.
It does not, and never has, and never will, because it can't.
I'm working or looking to resolve this apparent paradox where some of the desires, I've been listening to your material for a long time, and the desires that I seem to have for accomplishment in this particular lifetime seem like really, like shape-shifting, some of the real paranormal type stuff.
This can be done, but understand something. And let me bring this down to focus for all of you on principle. There is only one goal any of you have in life. Only one. Only one mission. Only one purpose. Only one thing you need to accomplish. Only one. You want to know what that is?
Yeah.
Shall we tell you the big secret? The big cosmic secret? The only goal any of you have is just to be you. Now, how you choose to do that is how you choose to do that. But how you choose to do that is just your style of expressing how you are being you. It's not your goal. Your career, a project, something you want to accomplish, those are not your goals. They are the style in which you choose to express the goal of just being you. So bring it home. Don't make the goal something to be accomplished out there, some project you are stretching for that's out there in the future. Allow yourself to understand the only purpose you have is to live your life as fully as you can in the best way you know how. Because even though you have other lives, you have never been this you before, you will never be this you again. Therefore, the fundamental purpose to being this you is to be this you, whatever that means to you. Be it the best you can, which usually means do the things that give you the most joy, because that's what allows you to be most you. And that's all you have to do. Do it at every moment in the way you choose to do it, by whatever methodology you choose to express it, whatever interests you, whatever excites you. Yes, by all means, follow it, but do not confuse those things with your goals. They are not. You are the goal, just being you. Everything else will fall into place when you just be you. You follow?
Yes, it does.
Does that help clarify the concept mechanically and physically for you?
Well, just the one point that you made, that's very liberating.
Yes, it is. And that's what it's all about. Freedom to be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Join me.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vicki.
Oh, all right. Good day to you.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question about how can I get rid of the horrible anger from my childhood?
Learn to love yourself more, first of all. Remember that the idea of anger is usually something that was not allowed by circumstance to be expressed at the time when you were first made to feel less than, unworthy. You follow?
Yes, I do.
One way to get in touch with that, there are many ways. Use your imagination, use the synchronicity in your life. But one way is to go back in a meditation to that first moment, or whatever you imagine to be, the first time you ever felt the anger in your life, in your childhood. The first time you felt unworthy or were made to feel incapable of expressing yourself the first time. And allow yourself to get back into that first moment and feel all the anger you want to feel. Play it through your system. Say what you would like to have been capable of saying at that time if you knew what was possible to be said, or if you had been allowed to say what you really wanted to say. Say it out loud, the top of your lungs, get it out of your system, because it's just a tape running over and over and over and over and over and over again. You have to go back to the first moment it was recorded. You follow?
Yes, I do.
When you do that, and really allow yourself to be back in that moment and amplify it as much as you can, you must really feel it so that the vibration will be there, so that that moment will be with you. Then, once you have done that, replace it with the feeling you would rather have had. The feeling of being totally unconditionally loved. The feeling of being taken for absolute worthiness. Being cherished. Being treasured. Being honored. For an equal. For a powerful being. Replace that old feeling with that vibration. And start to let yourself have permission to love yourself unconditionally for who you are. Because most of your anger is about the idea that you are angry at being taught to not love yourself. That's what your anger is about. So allow yourself to get back to that moment, play it, change it into the vibration you prefer it to be. And also, for lack of a better term, forgive. Forgive your parents. Forgive yourself. It wasn't done intentionally. It was done out of love. It was the best they knew how to do. They learned it from their parents. They learned it from their parents. They learned it from their parents. A child telepathically receives, regardless of the parents' best intentions vocally, all of their telepathic fear, all of their body language fear, everything that they feel is unworthy about themselves, they pass on to the child. The child is open and vulnerable and absorbs these things because it must be open, because it must rely on the parents for its survival. So it takes in everything and then has to spend 40 of your years sorting it all out, spitting out what it couldn't digest. That's what you're doing now. You are finally becoming an adult, but the only way you're really going to do that is to go back and become the child you were never allowed to be first. So that that new child can grow up into the adult you could be. Make sense?
It does. And how can I get rid of some of my physical pain? I know it's only a bad memory, but it's still beneficial.
When you get in touch with the emotional pain, you will find that the physical pain will alleviate. When you release what has been blocked within your neurological system, then your neurological patterns will not be firing to reinforce the concept of pain. But you see, this has still served you. Because the idea is that even though you have, shall we say, been boxed into a corner of pain, the pain is what has forced you to look for some way to deal with it. And in that sense, therefore, it is now forcing you to discover your true self. So in that sense, even the pain will ultimately have served you. Even though you never really needed it, it will serve you nonetheless. Let it serve you by letting it push you in the direction of loving yourself unconditionally, even though that's not what you were taught how to do. You can teach yourself how to do that now. Remember going in. Foundationally, begin here. Even though it may not have been possible for your parents to have taught you how to love yourself unconditionally because perhaps they didn't know how to love themselves unconditionally, all that is, the infinite, loves you unconditionally. Otherwise, you wouldn't exist. So start with that. Remember, as we have said, here's the paradox and the power in it. The infinite loves you so unconditionally, it will even allow you to not know you are unconditionally loved. That's how much it loves you. You understand that?
I think so.
It allows you to be so free, it allows you to choose whatever you want to such a degree that it will also allow you to choose to believe you are unloved. That's how much it loves you. That's how much it wants you to be what you choose to be, regardless of what that choice is. You are absolutely free to be who you want to be, even if you choose consciously or unconsciously, to be in perfect misery, you are still free to be that. That's how much you are trusted and loved as a part of creation. You can be anything, even the dark side. That's how much you're loved. So start there and go into the light of yourself, because it's your choice. If you prefer it, do that.
I will.
Does that help you?
Thank you.
Take a deep breath. And let it out. Take another deep breath. In. And let it out. Take another deep breath in. Hold it. Hold it. I didn't say let it out. No, 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 not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Hold it. Hope you took enough breath, because you're going to hold it for a lot longer. Keep holding it. Don't snicker. Don't chuckle. Don't let it out. I want to see you turn a wonderful shade of blue. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Keep holding it. Hold it longer, 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 longer. Even longer still. How long do you want to keep holding it?
I don't want to anymore.
Then let it go. It was always up to you. Just because I told you didn't mean you had to listen. Now there's a lesson for you. Do what is comfortable for you, regardless of what anyone else tells you you should be doing. Otherwise, you'll faint, you'll pass out. And that's what causes the pain. Anytime you find that you are stressed, what's the first thing you do? Hold your breath. Breathe. Anytime you find that you are dealing with issues of pain, keep breathing. You'll be fine. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
On October 1st of this year, my family experienced 3 sudden violent deaths
All right.
through 2 murders and a suicide.
Oh, all right.
This left 2 young people at home on their own.
Ages?
A son 22 and a daughter 15.
All right.
I would like to know what I can do to assist these children at this time in their lives. My daughter...
It may depend upon their ability or their level of knowledge of understanding why many of these things exist, and also their level of knowledge and ability to understand that they can still be in communication with those who have gone to spirit. Do you have any knowledge about their level of understanding of their ability to communicate with spirit? Do they believe that those individuals still exist in another form?
I believe they do.
All right. You can begin by allowing them to understand. We are not saying that this should be condoned. We are not, in that sense, making an excuse for any perpetrator. For it is their duty to be strong enough within themselves to not perpetrate such acts against other people. However, nothing happens by accident, and the way we mean this is the belief systems and the fears, but also sometimes just the timing of what the spirit chooses to experience in any given life can attract certain circumstances, if they are representative of the circumstances that are the path of least resistance to bring about what needs to happen for the best of all concerns concerning their spiritual growth and their understanding of themselves. So even though it didn't have to happen this way, and even though this does not, in that sense, excuse the perpetrator, the idea is that they can learn that this still has the ability to give them a positive energy to stretch, to grow, to learn from it, if only to explore the idea of why people on your planet feel so powerless that they must attempt to dominate others, even to the point of taking their lives. Explore the concept of the fact that these people on your planet who murder do so because they feel dead already. And the idea is to train, to teach, to show through unconditional love before a person gets to that point that they are self-empowered, that they are worthwhile, that they are worthy and make an impact and make a difference. This might be something that children will need to learn. Teach them not to go through this in bitterness. but really in love. For everyone is eternal. The people who have died are still not out of reach. And they will receive, if they haven't already, many dream communications. But they can have stronger contact than that as well. If they wish to feel their grief, that is all right. We are not invalidating that experience. But allow them to know they can take heart, for the spirits are among you always. And it is actually much easier for a spirit to hear you than many of you to hear the spirit. So anything that they say to them, they will receive it. You can assure them of that 100%. They will receive any message, any information that those children wish to send. They will receive it. And you will find that those beings, those spirits, will generally, most likely, act as guides for those children for a while, until such time as the children feel that they can understand themselves to the point where they can, in that sense, take over. You understand?
Yes,
But allow them to feel them in their hearts, remember them, and feel the vibration. When they think of them, there is a feeling that comes. Let them know that when they think of them and they feel the feeling of that person receives that vibration, and they will be there. Even if they can't immediately perceive how, let them know they are there. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know they are still loved, and that they will be able to understand the timing of all of this and how it serves them eventually, no matter what they feel right now. You follow?
yes, I do.
One more. In what locale on your planet did this take place?
Here in Los Angeles.
One moment. Is there some particular area that was a favorite of theirs to frequent with the children? Someplace outside the city? Or inside the city? Someplace that was a favorite? Someplace they would relate to? Someplace they would recognize as a place relating to those people who have died?
Yes, Mount Charleston
All right.
area.
Go to that area then. It will be easier for them to reconnect and feel the reconnection in a place that had meaning for all of them. You follow?
Yes, I do.
Does this serve you?
Yes, it does.
Then pleasant dreams.
Thank you very much.
Good day.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have always been fascinated with the idea of how your society works.
Oh, all right. It works very well. Thank you.
I'm aware of that. Well, let's say, for example, how do the beings on your planet or your dimension, how do they make decisions? For instance, when these decisions are contradictory, or they're just different?
They cannot be contradicted. There is no such thing in our society at this time. We rely 100% on synchronicity and trust that what happens is what's supposed to be happening and use it to the fullest potential in that way. We only take action on things that excite us the most and nothing else, not ever, not for a moment. By doing that, our combined telepathically intertwined reality explores and experiences a constantly unfolding life of synchronicity, always being exactly at the right place at the right time, just exactly when we need to be there, interacting with exactly who we need to interact with, no one else. Every decision happens automatically that way because it is simply a matter of recognizing what our truth is and acting on it, and that's the only fundamental mechanism to making a decision that exists for us and can exist for you.
Okay.
Does that help illuminate the situation a little bit?
Oh, definitely helps. Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Does it mean that any particular being of your reality could represent the entire reality that you're living?
Yes. We're all connected.
You're all-
Even though we have individuation, you would recognize a distinct difference in what you would call my personality and the personality of another being from my civilization, but we are all telepathically intertwined, and they all know that this communication is going on right now in some portion of their consciousness. To whatever varying degree is representative of what serves them to know it.
And there is no, say we had a conversation with my son before this, say you're in your ship,
Okay?
and one of you wants to go left and one of you wants to go right. I understand this is not a synchronicity, but it's a personal choice, it's a representation of personality.
Yes, but what you are missing is the idea that if it really serves the best of all concerned to have the conversation or have the discussion as to whether left or right would be best, then we trust that that's serving us to have that conversation. Otherwise, the people in the ship at that particular moment are all going to want to do the same thing at the same time automatically because it serves all of them synchronistically to do so. And anyone with whom that would conflict wouldn't wind up being there.
Okay. Okay.
They would simply be on another ship going in the other direction automatically. It would just simply have worked out that way. We never let it get to the point where we have to realize the conflictive, polarized nature of decisions because we are constantly acting in trust in the synchronicity, so the synchronicity never leads us to that, except when, if it does, we recognize that there is a purpose in being led to that. We accept it as such, and therefore, because we accept it as such, there's no conflict, because now we're focused on the real reason for the different choices, which is not necessarily to make one choice or another, but to discuss the whole concept of why we have two choices to make. That's living in the moment with what is happening. We recognize that the concept of discussing what choice to make is the very reason why it happened. We don't get about being confused about what choice we should make. We clearly understand that the conversation needs to be about making choices. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Does this help?
A lot.
Well, thank you.
Greetings, this is Michael.
Oh, I answer you good day.
In 1971, I was in South America,
Oh, all right.
and I met someone, and I was invited to visit Oaxaca, Mexico,
All right.
seek out an individual, and be taken to visit an alien spacecraft.
And were you?
And I wasn't ready at the time. Now I'm ready. Is the opportunity still available?
Bye-bye. The opportunity is always available. It will always again be completely and utterly determined by the processes and issues going on within you. And all you have to do is take the step in the direction of your joy. If it is not yet appropriate, if you have not yet processed what you need to process, to be able to appreciate the experience in the way that would serve you best, then your circumstances will lead you where you need to be led in order to give you what you need to be able to appreciate the ultimate circumstance coming about. But again, remember, don't make that a goal. Make the experience of your life at every moment the goal. You follow? By doing that is what you then allow paradoxically to be the easiest path for anything of that nature to happen that is aligned with your interest, your excitement, your curiosity, and your joy. It will simply come about once you are centered within who and what you are and why the things that you say excite you. Make sense?
Follow my feelings. Absolutely.
Yes.
Second question.
Yes.
For channels, I noticed that Daryl has some physical throat things.
Yes.
I channel occasionally too. What could you tell us to help the host or the channeler be more comfortable in their work?
You will find that it is a lot of the time simply acclimation to different levels of energy that are constantly fluctuating, that your physiological system is not used to. At the same time, there are things that can help alleviate some of the symptomology. Most of it has to do with what you would call diet on your planet, and also the toxicity of the environment of your planet. Were it cleaner in that sense, and were many of the things that you ingest not so polluted with toxins, it would probably be easier for your bodies to handle these kinds of energies, and there would not necessarily be so many ramifications. You follow?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you, Bashar?
Perfect, and you. Good day.
Thank you. About a year ago, I had a dream, and the dream was so strong it woke me up out of bed.
Into another dream.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, I was wondering if you could help me translate this dream.
Define the dream.
Okay. I'll define it the best way I can, being that
I
it's about a
expect
year.
nothing less.
Okay. It was at nighttime, and I was at possibly some type of a safe house. There was people outside. The best I recollect, it was an older house, and this giant spaceship flew over the house,
Yes.
and I was scared. I ran into the house and hid under the bed. Maybe when I was a child, that was a way of feeling safe.
All right.
a green light came into the house and filled my entire body up.
Yeah.
The next thing I know, I don't remember seeing anybody on the spacecraft or seeing the spacecraft itself inside, but I was looking back at the Earth and I could see all of these explosions and fire.
Yeah.
And after that, the next thing I know, I was back on the planet in a tree, sitting in the tree, and everything was fine, okay.
Yeah.
It was just total peace and harmony.
Yeah.
And I just want to know if you can interpret this dream or tell me what I experienced.
There is not much to interpret. It was actually, in that sense, a memory, to some degree, of an actual experience that you had when you were younger. The memory is only coming up now. Although it was mixed with some of the experience you actually had on the spacecraft as well. In terms of the scenario with the explosion, the idea simply is that there was projected into your consciousness a scenario that involved the concept of escape and rescue, to see how you would emotionally react or respond to it, to see how you would process it and problem solve it. You were simply remembering a series of different parts of the actual interaction and encounter, lumping them all together and remembering them in this lumped up version in this dream. You understand? You're having interactions. You have had them ongoing. This dream is one of the first times you have gathered together different bits and pieces of many different interactions and allow them to come to your memory in the form of a dream to let you know that these things are really going on.
So I was taken off the planet in a spaceship?
Yes. This is common for many of you.
Why was the Earth exploding?
I just told you. It wasn't really. This was a projection put into your mind to see how you would react to such a scenario. This is done because these particular beings want to understand more about the human emotional response to dangerous situations. For in many ways it is confusing to them that there are many dangerous situations on your planet that you do nothing about. So they want to understand why you don't respond to them. You understand?
Yes.
Well then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasant dreams.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to know the name of my guide.
Which one?
Which one?
Yes.
I don't know which one. That's what I'm asking.
Well, how can I help you if you don't know which one? Most of you have more than one, you know.
Well, I don't know which one.
Well, then, what do you want to do about this?
I just wanted to know my guide.
Why?
Well, just because I wanted to know.
Why?
Why did
Yes, why do you want to know?
Why are you asking me why?
Because you may be attempting to pin them down in a way that wouldn't serve you.
Oh. Well,
Why do you want to know?
because I just got this book, Ask Your Angels.
Well, now you see you're coming up with a reason.
And it's a guide on how to get in touch with your angels, so I figured if I need a name, then it'd be easy.
I see. Names being vibrational, yes?
Yes.
Do you remember us talking about the idea of allowing your imagination to be your guide? And thus, when you allow your imagination to be your best guide, your guides have an easier time speaking to you through your imagination?
Yes.
Well, what do you imagine one of their names might be, if they even have such things? Because some of them don't. But sometimes you can create a name that is vibrationally accurate to the resonance, significant or close enough. What do you imagine might be a name?
Zachary?
Why that one?
I don't know, that name always comes to my head.
It does.
Yeah, all the time.
When? In certain circumstances?
No, this comes to me all the time.
It just comes to you.
Yeah.
Why did you assume that that wasn't one of the names, since it seems to come to you all the time?
I don't know.
Well, why didn't you put, as you say on your planet, 2 and 2 together?
I knew you were going to say that.
See how psychic you are? If you are constantly getting this name in your head, what would possess you to ask for a name instead of assuming that that might be one of them?
Because I never thought about that before.
Well, now you have. What do you think? Will Zachary work?
Sure.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love the name.
Why?
Zachary. I like the Z.
Do you now?
Yeah. And I just like the way it sounds.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons you like it so much is because that is specifically the guide that is helping you get in touch with your own future self. Most of you will find that when you are about the business of integrating all of the different components of your personality, integrating them together into a more holistic self, you will usually assign names to those portions that begin with a Z or an X. So, by assigning Zachary that vibration to this guide, what you can recognize is that this is the guide that is helping you with most of your integration of all the different components of your personality and helping you become more of yourself. That's what Zachary's job is, shall we say. There are at least two more, most likely feminine, in vibrational nature, even though the spirit is neither male or female. But they can present a feminine vibration, again, to make certain connections that may be relevant to you in this particular incarnation. The capability of telling you what we think about what you think.
You only come up with two other names?
We have already told you that we think Zachary is just fine.
Right, I got that one.
So that's because you told us.
Yeah, I got it.
What else would you like to tell us? We've already given you the hint that it's two feminine vibrations.
Right.
Well, do you feel you even need to know?
I just wanted to know. That's all.
Why?
Just
Just you need more intensity than that.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. So you want me to think about these names?
No.
Oh.
I don't want you to do anything. I am simply suggesting that if you want to know, really want to know, then really want to know.
Oh, okay.
Not just idle curiosity. Really want to know. And that will put you in touch with why you really want to know, or you may find out that you don't really want to know. Because sometimes it actually serves you best to not have a label on something. Because once you put labels to things, you limit them. Now, do you want your guides to be limited?
No.
Zachary will be an exception.
Okay.
The name will not limit Zachary.
Okay.
One moment. Cassandra is one. Does that help?
Yeah.
Why? What does the vibration of Cassandra mean to you?
Gosh, it was a name that I was really attracted to when I was younger.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, really attracted to that name.
Really? Well, as I said, you have to really want to know. And since in your youth you were really attracted to it, then it was capable for us to get it for you.
Okay.
And that, again, is a name that your guide will use. Because you were really attracted to it, and of course your guide would love it if you were attracted to it.
Okay.
You follow?
I follow.
Now, I'm going to leave the third one up to you, now that you've seen how it's done.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, big sigh.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Very nice to see you again.
It is nice to experience you as well.
I've had a really full emotional week.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I don't know. Yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
My mother passed away suddenly.
All right.
And the last week,
Jack.
3 days in a row,
Yeah.
I was awakened in my room once by, it was a very strong blue and white spiral shape
Yeah.
above me in my room. The second night, something very geometric.
Yeah.
The third night, some type of a jackup was going on.
Did all of these things happen to occur sometime between 3 and 4 a.m.?
Probably earlier than that,
Such as?
maybe one night between 1 and 2.
All right.
Next night 2 and 3, definitely between 2 and 3. Because
All right.
I get up at 4 in the morning
All
to go to work, so
All
not early.
Yes, and so? What about all this?
I feel pretty clear about my mother going, although my belief systems are different from her, and it was a surprise.
Yeah.
I guess I want to know if she's okay.
Of course she is okay.
And reunited with who she wanted to see.
Individuals that are already in spirit will always greet those coming over.
Okay. And then my question would be, what was going on the week prior?
Defining as what?
When I woke up and was clear about what I saw in my room, I didn't understand
Oh,
whatever communication was trying to be relayed or whatever
it
adjustment.
is not so much that communication was trying to be relayed, it is simply that energy work is being done. Adjustments are being made in your frequency to help you evolve, to help you acclimate to the changes in your life, to the shifts that you need to go through. You understand?
Yeah. There's a lot of shifts going on.
Yes. This is the age of transformation on your planet. You don't want to lag behind, do you?
Okay, yeah.
Well then,
I hear about Aquarius, Uranus going into Aquarius on January 13th.
If you say so.
I not even knew it, but they...
Why? It's your discipline, this astrology.
Okay. Well, I'm feeling certainly more acceleration than I've already been feeling.
Remember, the things that happen that you call astrological are reflections of what's already going on in the collective consciousness of your species. It is not a control. It is not a trigger. It's a reflection of what's already there. The timing of those things, the timing of the planet, the timing of the alignment is a reflection of a change already in progress in the consciousness of your world. It is not causing it, not bringing it about. It's a reflection of what's already happening in you. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Does that help you?
Yes. I guess my question is again to what happened to me last week.
Yes.
If and when that happens again,
Yes, that it will.
so that's simply just an adjustment to keep me...
You can recognize that there is contact being made, that you're having different kinds of experiences, yes. But there are many different levels to the agendas of these interactions. Some of it has to do with making fine-tuned adjustments in the level of your energy to help you acclimate to the kinds of energy shifts going on in the collective consciousness of your world and the transformation of your planet. It is a part of what you would call evolution. It's just that evolution takes place in a very different way than your people think, and involves many more levels of consciousness than you are willing to be aware of at present.
And what if I'm willing to be aware of more at present?
Well, ask yourself, are you?
I think so.
Is there any fear?
And that would come up at that time.
Yes, it
And
would.
it does when I happens.
Yes. Remember, there is a fundamental fear that most of you feel in these interactions, and it is this. When you understand that you create your own reality, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Understand that you also do so collectively. You have a collective consensus reality, yes?
Yes.
Well, so do other beings. And when their reality, their collective reality is on a higher frequency than yours and it starts to interact with yours, it can feel a little overwhelming. In other words, one whole collective universal reality is being dissolved by another to create a third reality in which both can exist. But because of the way you have been taught to think of yourselves as physiological beings, you experience this dissolution of your universal reality as actual death of the ego structure. And so you go into survival panic fear mode because you think you're dying. You're not. But that's what happens. You follow? The more you allow yourself to expand and know that you are the reality in which you think you exist, the easier it will be for you to assimilate and accommodate other realities as an equal. And then you will not have that basic fear. Any other fears that remain may be simply reflective of your individuated agendas, of definitions you have within yourself that need to be integrated within your understanding of who and what you are. But yes, you will deal with them as they come up. Be open to it. Make a friend of the unknown. It's the only place you're ever going to be anyway. You know that no matter how well you plan, you're always in the unknown. So it might as well be a place you enjoy, because it's the only place that exists. You follow? May I wish you pleasant dreams as well then? And remember, ask for consciousness. Ask for assistance in some fashion, even though it may be a fashion your mind doesn't always immediately recognize or understand, it will be given. So ask. All right? Thank you.
To Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist?
We are all just teaching.
How do you feel?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes.
What a concept.
Yes. It is what all of you are. Perfect as you are, whatever that may be, right now, even if you change in the next moment. You're all perfect.
But how do you feel?
With my hand. With my heart, with my soul, with my mind.
That's what I want to know.
With my spirit.
All right.
Vibrationally is how I feel.
And all the beings on your planet feel? in the same manner?
Yes, fundamentally, though they will differentiate it according to how they need to experience it as unique, differentiated individuals, as well as feeling it in the whole.
All right, and so it's pretty similar to how we feel.
Not really. Unless you mean just the fundamental mechanism, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean, the fundamental
Yes,
mechanism.
it is identical.
All right, because in our conversations before, you discussed how you had a number of lives as a gray.
Yes.
I guess a zeta gray. And how does the zeta gray feel?
There is feeling, but not as you understand it. The closest analogy that they have to the concept of an emotion would be very alien to you, and as we have said, the closest sense you could make out of what they collectively as a hive mentality experience as emotion would translate in your consciousness as the sense you call irony. You actually do not have the mechanism to translate their emotional structure. It isn't an emotional structure you recognize, though it is an alien emotion. But the only piece of your consciousness that can make sense out of it would be that piece that would recognize it as a sense of irony. That's as close as you can get as a human.
So that's what it feels like to be a zeta gray.
As best as you can understand it.
Okay. Because you say it's hive mentality.
Yes.
And I associate that with your civilization also, hive mentality.
Only in the sense that we are telepathically linked. But the hive mentality we describe in the Greys is such that they are barely individuated at all. You follow?
Okay.
They are, in that sense, almost robotic.
All right, so you...
We have absolute individuation. I would think you would know that by now. At the same time, it is balanced with the intertwining telepathy.
Okay, and...
This is why the hybrids are being created, such as my species, because it is the balance of the collective hive intellectual mentality of the Greys and the emotional individuated consciousness of the human. We are the balance of both.
Yes, I'm familiar with that,
Oh.
but I just want to check on it.
All right,
And
well.
as your simulacrum, which is here,
Yes,
as Darrow,
yes,
that's how you more or less have used that to tune into our society,
yes.
right?
It is, in that sense, an anchor point. No
So-
pun intended.
So as Darrow feels, that's what you associate with our society.
In many ways, although we can also extrapolate to some degree beyond that at this point, because we have access to the channel's entire life. You understand?
Not his entire life.
Yes, the life he has lived and the life he has yet to live from your perspective.
Oh, in this society.
In your society, yes. We have access to the entire life from birth to death, which he does not yet have.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying then. Okay, you're talking about the immediate future of this present lifetime.
Yes.
Okay, not a next.
No.
Okay. All right. Now the channel before us, he doesn't have any children, any physical children.
Correct.
Okay, and you on your planet, you don't have any physical children.
Correct.
Okay, so how do you feel about kids?
We love them unconditionally.
Yes, I understand. I understand that,
Yes.
but there's a little more. Well, at least there seems to be.
You are asking
for
a
me.
human question.
That's right.
From a human perspective.
That's right, and I want
Do
you.
recognize
Wait
again
a
that we
second.
trust the synchronicity.
Yes, let me finish. Okay? All right, you tune into that, let me finish. You tune into his lifetime,
Yes.
and you do not know what it feels like as a human to have children.
Why?
Well, I'm asking you.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
How?
Because we extend beyond.
In what manner?
We pick up on the resonance of others in your society as well.
Yes, but picking up on the resonance and then the actual experience, it's like I experienced something directly.
Yes, but we have access to all the parallel lives of the channel as well, and in some parallel lives he has children, biologically.
Oh, okay. So in
Does that help?
Oh, that helps immensely.
All right.
Because what I'm getting at is,
Yes.
it's the actual experience of something,
Of course.
and then the theoretical experience
Yes,
of something.
Yes.
There is a difference.
of course.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
But we have the actual experience because we can connect multidimensionally into all the probable realities of the channel as well.
All right, all the
Not
probable
just
realities.
linearly.
Oh, okay. All right, that helps out a lot. What I want to ask now is, as Pleiadian, could you tune into them and tell me how it feels to be a Pleiadian?
Perhaps it would best be understood in the following manner. One moment. Do you know how it feels to love your children as a father?
Yes.
That frequency is more often than not the fundamental underlying frequency of the Pleiadian incarnation.
For all the beings in the Pleiades?
And all of you. And many others. They are a kind of family, familial energy, fundamentally, that has an outflowing of unconditional love for all that they consider part of their family today.
And that's how they feel towards us?
Yes, because you are literally their cousins in many ways.
Yes. And how does it feel to be an Orion Gray?
Again, in the Orion complex, and the concepts mingled with what we have already described as ironic, you follow?
Yes.
Take that sense of irony. Have you got it?
Yes.
All right. Throw in what you might call a dash, if you will, of adrenaline. Have you got that?
Got it.
All right.
Just a dash.
Just a dash.
Okay.
Just a dash.
Yes.
And then, take your body and fall from about a 3-foot height onto cement. Now, I'm being serious.
Yes, I know you
All
are.
right, all right. That sensation, that shock,
Yes.
that's close.
That's how it feels to be an Orion Gray.
Yes,
Okay, and how does it feel to be a Syrian?
serious.
Serious.
Like a bubble, popping constantly, like a bubble, popping constantly, like a bubble, popping constantly, like a bubble, popping constantly.
Okay, what I want to ask you now is, the Syrian beings I'm talking about are the physical beings.
Oh, we thought you were talking about fixed density.
Yes, I understand.
You want to know about the physical, serious being.
Yes.
How does it feel to be one of them?
That's right.
All right. Allow yourself to remember how it feels when you are immersed in thick mud.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, allow yourself to take, along with that, the idea of inhaling simultaneously a very fruity smell, such as an orange. You follow?
Yes.
Mix that with the sense of the idea of a flower growing in the earth, that earthy quality.
Okay.
Have you got that?
Yes.
Like being a gardener, so to speak, and getting your hands in the earth. That feeling of accomplishment, of growing something, that will then sustain you both in beauty and perhaps in food, you understand?
Yes, sustenance, for sure.
But in that manner, specifically.
Yes.
Agriculturally. That concept, that feeling of being symbiotic with the land in that way.
And that's
Very symbiotic with the land in that way. The individuals
more or less the
on
feeling.
your planet that are in the community that you call Sindhorn. You understand?
Yes.
There is a close analogy there in how they relate to the concept of the growing things and why the growing things respond so beautifully in that area. This is similar to the serious energy in physicality.
Okay.
And now remember, we are giving you just the general underlying fundamental frequency of each. There are many individuals in some of these, and they will vary this frequency in a variety of ways that we simply do not have time to go into.
Yes, I understand.
All right.
The Syrians, now, are they individuated, or,
Physically, yes.
okay, are they in telepathic communication with each other?
Not exactly as you would understand it, but yes, there is a kind of sensing in a natural way, more of a direct empathy rather than telepathy.
Okay, and are they humanoid as us?
Humanoid, not human.
Yes,
There
humanoid.
is some degree of amphibious quality to them.
All right, and more or less something along the lines of a mermaid or...
Well, that's a rough analogy.
Yes.
Not really.
Okay, and how does it feel to be a reptilian?
Hungry. ravenously hungry.
And what do they sustain themselves on?
Not you. although there is a component of the consciousness that they can utilize in that way to sustain themselves for brief periods of time, their ravenous hunger doesn't always have to do with the idea of physiological sustenance.
Yes, but what's it come from?
What does what come from?
The constant hunger. That must
The
be...
constant hunger is a reflection of the deep, dark fears within many beings. For they reflect that, primarily, in many ways.
Okay, and do they have emotional bodies?
Oh, yes, they do.
All right, and are they similar to us in any way?
In a primitive way, yes. Rage.
Where do they come from?
This has a long history. There are Rigelian counterparts, genetics. There are also genetics that were lifted off your own planet from what you would call the dinosaur age. There is an admixture and a mutation that exists therein.
Okay, and how about the lizards?
This is the same idea.
Same idea, okay. All right, and...
Are you making a catalog?
No, you know what I'm doing. I'm using you to tune in. I was always curious to see how... This is how I want to relate to these different beings, is how they feel, how they experience reality.
All right. You can learn much from that perspective. Of course, we also understand you will always want to relate to them from the perspective of your own choice.
Yes. The other group of beings are what's called, I think, the bonds. Muscular type beings, Nordic bonds.
We will not go into them right now.
And you can't tell me how they feel.
Not right now.
All right. Could you tell me where they're from?
Not right now.
All right. If I told you where I thought they were from?
Maybe.
Procyon?
One variation is from Procyon, but not all the ones that are identified as blondes.
Okay. I just want to finish off here with one idea.
Yes.
Me personally.
You personally?
Me personally.
Oh, all
We
right.
know each other pretty well. Okay, we've been through it a lot. Ever since I was a young child.
Last week?
No, no. Every day. Every day. But what I commonly consider to be from my birth,
Yes.
when I was, my earliest memories.
Yes.
All right, a lot of times when people have asked questions about the government, you say, you are your government.
Yes.
In this country.
Yes.
You are your government.
Around the world.
Well, what I say is, I don't acknowledge my government, and I never have. I live here, and I just give them what I want. I play in the game according to my rules.
Do you understand what we say when we say you are the government?
Yes, you make your own choices.
Of course.
You govern yourself.
Of course.
All right.
That's all it takes.
Well, that's what I just, just in case.
We understand the difference
the
between the
meaning
structure that you have created on your planet politically. The idea is that simply by putting it back in the laps of the humans, it allows them to be responsible for themselves, and that is the only government that really needs to exist.
That's right. You be as free as you want to be.
Yes, because when you are being your natural self, there is no conflict, and no one needs to regulate anything.
All right, and I've always felt like this since I was a child.
Yes.
I've never given another being or the government credence over how I feel, what I should do,
Yes.
or whatever, because ever since I was young, I was always made up my own mind.
Yes.
And what I felt to do.
Yes.
And I know what is meant by it, because a lot of people seem to be controlled by governments or doing what they think is right, but not what they feel is right.
Yes.
Okay, and that's how I want them to leave off, because it seems like that could be misinterpreted to be that we are our governments. All right, we have to vote in the system, because voting in the system...
No. The idea is
Right.
also simply a reinforcement that as the political structure is allowed to continue, obviously it is supported by your species. And in that context even, you are your government because you are saying that this is what you want. Now, we understand that many of you are changing, but in general, as long as the political structure that exists still exists, it's obviously what most of the people on your planet are supporting, and even in that context, then it is accurate to say, well, you are your government, you're the ones that are supporting the system as you have created it. If you don't prefer that, then yes, by all means, become the government of yourselves, by yourselves. And in that sense, then it will change.
Yes. All right, thanks a lot, Bashar.
Thank you. How come you didn't ask about the Palestinians?
How's about the founder? How does it feel to be a founder?
It feels eternal. to be a founder, if you can get a grasp on that. Feel as old as you possibly can, archaic, ancient, but always totally present. Eternal is how the founders feel. The Tausenians are very friendly and will become one of the best friends your species has ever had. Good day.
Good day, Bashar. Question for you. Can you look into the future?
There is no such thing as the future. There are an infinite number of probable realities. What we have the capacity to do is look into the present and sense which probable reality may, at present, have the highest degree of momentum or inertia behind it, and thus perhaps be the most likely to manifest. But that could also change, and we may have the capability to tell you exactly what the percentage of likelihood is that it will change or not. But there is no such thing as the future.
Well, what I'm concerned about is...
There's that word again.
Okay. I want to see peace on earth, but my question...
Create it.
Is man doomed on this earth? Is he going to destroy himself?
No. That is long since past.
Again.
One of the reasons you are now seeing the proliferation of so much violence is because you know it's safe to get it out of your system. Because you will no longer bring it to an ultimate doomsday ending. There may be a few isolated incidents, and it is still likely that there may actually be what you would call nuclear usage in the Middle East sometime around your 98th year as an act of terrorism. But the idea is that even if that comes to pass, it may also create a shockwave that will instantly galvanize all of you to change your ways in recognizing what it could lead to if you decide to go down that path. But generally speaking, you will find that sometime, give or take, about 10 of your years ago, maybe 15 at the outside, you actually all collectively already decided that you would not annihilate yourselves. But you also recognize that many of you may have to go through trials by fire in a variety of ways, or not, in order to allow yourselves to bring to the surface all the ideas of the dark sides of your consciousness, so that in bringing it all out in the open, on the table, as you say, you have the freedom to choose what you prefer and what you don't, and make a choice about what you want your world to be, and whether or not each of you individually is willing to take responsibility for creating the peace you want, or if you're going to continue to give your power away and assume someone else will do it for you someday, somewhere, somehow. But you are now in the eye of the hurricane, right at the point of the fulcrum, each and every one of you. Each and every one of you impacts all of you. The more you are your total self, the easier it is for all of you to be your total selves and allow the whole picture to integrate peacefully, harmoniously. One of the reasons we're even capable of having these conversations with your species at this time is that because you have chosen to not annihilate yourself. Had you done so, there would be no point in this conversation and we would be elsewhere. But we know that the most likely energy, although there are a variety of ways that your planet can still get there, the most likely probable reality is that your world, in and around your year of 2011, 2013, will finally begin, after having gone through certain transitions, to lay down the foundations of a flow of harmonics on your planet, and by your year of 2037, the Earth will most likely become a member of the Association of Worlds to which we belong. That is generally how we understand your energy to be unfolding, and why we are communicating with your species at this time, because we are communicating with the evolving Earth that is heading in that direction generally. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, very much. You've answered my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good day, Bashar.
Andrew, you good day.
I would like to talk about an event in my life and that of my girlfriend here about 3 days ago.
All right.
And to bring, everyone up to speed, as you may know, both myself and my girlfriend, we play pool.
Yes.
And you also know that I sell a somewhat technical, fancy pool cue, approximately $1,300 in value.
Fancy pool cue.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. One of these particular cues was a gift to my girlfriend.
All right.
And on her birthday over a year ago.
Yes.
And recently, as I mentioned about 3 days ago, basically she lost it. She was in the pool room and she left it there.
Oh, all right.
And so there's been, we've had a certain series of events unfolding that are related to that. She went back to try and reclaim it, and could not get any help basically, and kind of felt that she was, so to speak, ripped off by people there at hand.
All right.
And
It's
anyway,
still her choice to use this in a positive way, so that regardless of anyone else's intention, she can still glean a positive effect out of the circumstance.
yes, and we have discussed that idea, and from myself, my own standpoint,
Yes.
thought of it the same way based on these interactions, understood, well, this is a neutral event.
Yes.
First we have a cue, now we have no cue.
And that
kind
is
of a
the
thing.
cue to get on with your life.
And okay, very good. Well, that's what I was asking then, is what is, from your viewpoint, in making that kind of a comment for myself, and...
You create the neutral situation,
Mhm.
and you continue to act on the most exciting thing you can, trusting that somehow, in some way, shape, and form, it will come around again to serve you. You may not, in every circumstance or situation, ever have a conscious understanding of exactly how it did in specific terms.
Right.
But in some way, shape, or form, it will serve you in a positive way if you remain within that frequency.
Okay.
But you will find that sometimes when objects or symbols are that specific,
Right.
if you remain in the neutral state and then go into the positive one, more often than not, the specific understanding of exactly how that serves will be had in relatively short order.
Okay.
But you will not see it if you don't stay in the positive vibration. If you're not in that vibration, then that reality and all of its symbols and reflections will be invisible and will not manifest.
Okay. Can you make any comments specifically in regards to both, in other words, myself and herself?
Something that you place such high value on is good practice for you.
Can you kind of repeat that or rephrase it?
Something, an object, that you have placed or she has placed such high value on
Yes.
are the things you more often than not use because they are the best practice for you to remain neutral. Because of how you have placed such high value on them, and now need to allow them to be completely neutral.
So in other words, like as a self-test kind of a thing? Or?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, your physical reality cannot change outwardly. That's not the first sign that you have changed, that your physical reality changes outwardly. The first sign is, do you respond differently to your physical reality, even if it stays the same? That's the first test as to whether you have really changed. Then when you respond differently, even if your physical reality looks like it did before, then your outer reality can actually reflect the real change within you.
Okay.
But if you keep going, oh, I thought I had changed. Why did this happen? I thought I had changed. You're still reacting in the same old way, and thus you haven't changed. The button can still be pushed.
And is it possible, in talking the same idea, one other facet was after this event and the following day,
Yes.
as her suggestion, come on, like we're going to lunch, kind of a thing. And so we kind of discussed it over lunch. And that particular timing, and that particular meeting, can you see anything about that?
Can you be more specific?
Well,
what conclusions did you come to?
at that point,
Yes.
maybe one of the prime conclusions was, well, obviously it's only a stick kind of a thing, or, the idea that you mentioned that, well, obviously now to us this is not so important. Maybe the lessening of the importance of losing such an item,
Yes.
So we lost the pool cue, so what?
Well, yes.
Don't
Losing
play
a
more,
stick
right,
means you won't get stuck.
But I got more sticks, and I gave one to her again.
All right. But that's a stick of a different color.
A lot of different colors there.
And it creates a different cue, literally. Remember that vibration is the cue, is the thing that cues the reality. It's all about vibration. Does this help?
Yes.
By the way, your friend Dennis is getting feisty with you.
Yes.
Good for him.
Good for him. Is there meaning in that for me as far as my interaction with him?
Perhaps, but mostly
Or is it just something for him to overhear?
it is a compliment.
Oh, compliments to Dennis.
Yes,
Very good.
for standing his ground.
Good.
Good day.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
One of the things I'd like to talk to you tonight about is after a nuclear explosion,
Any particular kind? There are different forms of nuclear explosions, you know. The sun is a nuclear explosion.
Some of the above ground testing that we've done.
Yes, what about it?
In the Nevada area.
What about it?
One of the results is the people in the area that the downwind drift of the explosion settles on report high incidences of cancer and leukemia.
Yes, well, as we have already indicated, disease is usually a matter of toxicity in your environment.
I was wondering what the half-life of that radioactive fallout is.
Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
So is that area basically permanently contaminated?
No.
For life?
No. You can change the vibration. But as it stands now, in the reality you are in now, that is still the case. But you can change the vibration. You can do it through symbolic technology, or you can do it, mostly of course, through the changing and shifting of your own vibration, which is the only way that a symbolic technology that can handle it's going to come about anyway.
So by increasing our frequency, we'll be able to...
It will not affect it.
Transmute the energy.
Yes.
Okay.
It is not even so much a matter of transmuting the energy. By shifting your frequency, you will be in a reality where that energy doesn't exist.
And concerning the dolphins,
yes.
Usually they travel in pods,
yes.
But occasionally one dolphin will break off from the group and continue on a solo journey.
Yes,
for the remainder
just as many of you do.
Is there any particular reason why they do that?
Of course. The dolphin's own personal reason. Go ask one. They have just as many reasons for doing individual things as you do. There may be something that they're curious about. There may be something that they're exploring. They may be taking a trip. Go ask one.
Okay. And we have an ancient aphorism on our planet from the Chinese that says that those who know do not speak, and those who speak do not know.
Yes.
And is that basically from in older times in alchemy, they talk about how not to talk about things because it will...
It is simply knowledge from the infinite expressed in one particular cultural context. It may be the same kind of knowledge that was accessed even by many of your alchemists, but it doesn't come from the alchemical line. It comes from the same source of the one all that is for anyone who simply cares to tap into that idea. And it can be expressed, of course, in a variety of ways. It doesn't always have to be taken supremely literally, but sometimes the literal application has merit in certain circumstances. Such as this one right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
Have you a good day?
I have another question to you.
All right, another question.
Another one. I'm curious, how do you communicate with a higher level being?
With our imagination and our consciousness and our vibrational energy. We open ourselves up knowing it is there and are simply willing to receive in whatever way, shape, or form it needs to come through and trust that what we receive is the communication.
Okay, therefore, do you use in touch channeling, or each and every one of you could be a channel?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so does that the same rule that applies to us in that respect?
Yes.
If you present here yourself because of your higher frequency than ours,
yes,
we might be destroyed, or we might just lose the feel of reality.
Yes.
Does not apply to you when you connect to a much higher level?
Oh, yes, it does. Although after a certain point, you get used to the idea of disorientation and make it your friend, so it isn't experienced in exactly the same way that your species experiences much of its disorientation. We still experience the energy, but we do not experience it in a way that we cannot use immediately, for we recognize it for what it is and are happy to welcome the disorientation. Because we are specifically seeking to be disoriented from what we already know and open to being reoriented to the unknown. This is going on for us, in particular, with regard to our explorations and communications with a species or a civilization or a consciousness, however you wish to label it, that more often than not expresses itself on your planet in the form you call the Kachina energy. The Kachina beings are quasi-planar, interdimensional consciousnesses that we are ourselves only just beginning to understand and are excited about having communication with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I still want more insight into this consensual agreements that we have. You know, like gravity. I mean, we all there's certain rules by which we play.
Yes.
And
there is also purpose for why, in some cases, you do so. It isn't that you cannot bend those ideas or understand
what I get to. I mean, how do you get to the point, or differentiate between the where you think you're at the point where you don't want to play by those rules anymore, not in a destructive or just for the sake of being contrary, but out of creativity.
Well, first of all, the fact that you may be interested in such things is an indication that if that is really representative of your highest joy, your strongest curiosity, then there's a reason for that.
Right.
And the reason for that is usually an indication that it's all right to bend those rules in your lifetime.
And it's just that simple.
Yes.
Because it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
Bending, I try to bend the rules and it doesn't work.
Well, that's just because you're not necessarily understanding how to do so yet.
And then I'm real comfortable with, insight, organic insight, I guess I would call it, and because I've had a lot of that.
All right. May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Specifically with regard to the example that you gave of gravity, what do you understand gravity to be? It may only be the definition you have of it that makes it seem difficult for you to bend it. Because remember, everything in your reality is a matter of definition. Maybe your definition isn't the definition that allows bending to take place. Maybe you need to change the definition of gravity so that your definition includes the capability of bending it.
I see it more in the sense of, see, that's not a real stumbling block for me because I understand just the idea of it being an idea.
That's not just an idea, though. Ideas are reality. So the point is, again, more specifically, what is your specific idea of it? Because your specific idea is not just an idea, it is real for you.
Okay, well,
So how is your definition of gravity? What's your definition?
Well, there's a point that I could make this more central to it that would be more generic.
Are you saying the gravity issue is peripheral to what you really are all
because
about?
there's a lot of them like that. It's more like I don't feel as though I have permission to do these kinds of things.
Well, who gave you that definition?
Like a higher self type idea, So
all right. It is possible that you do have an overall recognition that there is a purpose to the timing as to when certain things do unfold. So, you may be going by your own agenda, yes, of the higher self, but that doesn't mean it can't be done.
Right.
It simply means that whatever time it takes is the time that serves the best of all concerned, so that what it is you have to give can be utilized in the best possible way by the reality that you have agreed to interact with.
Okay, and so I'm comfortable with that. Then why would it be such a part of me for so long before the time it actually happened?
Because in your society, it sometimes requires that much processing to get a handle on what it's all about. So that you can come up to speed with everyone, and everyone can come up to speed with you, so that you can relate to them, they can relate to you, so that what you have to share is something they can also relate to. Because you are gaining experience, you are gaining communication skills, you are gaining all the different attributes of the whole idea in a variety of ways, so that you can express it in perfect timing. What you're also doing is you're defining all of this so-called processing as a precursor to the thing instead of seeing it as a part of the thing. All the things you're going through are a part of this idea. It is not separate from it. It is not leading up to it. It is it. You're doing it right now, but you don't recognize that because of how you define the concept of a process. Stay in the moment and recognize that everything is happening in the moment is a version of the thing that you are all about and an expression of who you really are.
But I find that it's excruciating.
That's because of your definition. And only because of your definition. Remember, the only reason you would be impatient is because you think you need patience. If you are living in the moment, you're having so much fun, you are not waiting for something that you define as better to come along. And so you don't need patience, and so you are never impatient. The only reason you find it excruciating is because you're not appreciating what is, because you think what will be better. It is. It will be different, but it won't be better or any more representative of who and what you are. And the paradox is, until you allow yourself to allow what is to be perfectly beautiful and fully experienced, you don't make room for another what is to come in. So you yourself, with your definitions of impatience to get somewhere else other than here, are the one that is regulating the time frame that it's taking. Because you're not allowing here to be used up fully, and so you make it take longer for other things to be capable of occupying the same space, because there is only here and now to occupy. You're not going to a future. The future has to come through you by becoming the present. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. I don't like it.
You don't like it because of how you define it, and that's the only reason why you don't like it, because of how you define it. Find that allows you to have that reaction to it. Because remember, you don't have a feeling about anything until you already believe something to be true about that thing. So if you have a feeling you don't like, it's because you have a belief about it you don't prefer. Find out what the belief is, change the belief, believe me, everything will begin to magically change. Everything. But don't do it because it will make it change. Do it because it's the vibration you are and that you prefer to experience yourself to be. Remember, if you need a reason to be happy, you will never be happy. Be happy because that's what you prefer. The reality that reflects that happiness will automatically come to you, but if you say, I will be happy because it will get me that reality, you short-circuit the ability of that reality to come to you because you're making it conditional. Unconditional happiness, unconditional joy, unconditional experiential life is unconditional. Not unconditional except for this one condition. Unconditional. That's how it works. So be in the moment, and all the moments you need to have will be here. Exactly perfectly as they need to be. Period. End of discussion. Thank you. At this timing, we will once again extend to each and every one of you and all of you together as one. Once again, our deepest appreciation of being allowed to communicate with your civilization in this way at this time on this day. We thank you for allowing us to play together. We thank you for dreaming us into your world and allowing us to dream you into ours. Remember, we're dreaming right now. Wake up and live the dream you prefer. Stay here. Stay now. It's the only place there is. Good day. Time to go.
Great.
Excellent.
Wonderful.